welcome back to Ore. Okay, it's the big one. We're actually going to enter the Ketamans today. Trying to get this on quite quickly since we had such a long video last video that was all in this one little camp. I kind of like it though. If the devs give you a ton of content and things to do in a small area, it just makes the world feel huge. I do want to point out though that if I jump over and climb on this plateau, you can see there's a launch pad there. A launch pad that, were we to stand on it, would threaten to throw us well out into the depths of Malcor's Leap. And I'm not sure I'm really prepared for that right now. So yeah, let's get Blood is Power off of our skill bar here and put on a new, well, not a new minion. Let's just put this minion back on. And I want to open the video straight away by unlocking a powerful new skill for us, or many skills actually in truth, which we're going to use here. As I already mentioned a couple of times, there's a very dangerous boss coming up. I have to be careful of that golem that's still patrolling the area. So I'm going to buy into Spectrals. So Spectral Abilities are as close as like a core necromancer gets to ghostly kind of stuff. Obviously, we have a mechanical life force, which we get from reaping the energies of our foes. Most of our auto attacks give us life force, as I explained way back when we started playing Necro. But also, if something dies next to us, we get life force too. Well, spectral skills kind of play into that. All the spectral abilities are methods of giving us even more life force. So if I hide in Shroud here for a while and we spend it all, any of these skills we get, we could use to bring a lot of it back. So for that reason, they're all kind of interesting. There's a lot of different special things about them. I'm just going to buy my way the whole way in and get the elite. And that's all we're going to talk about here. It's called Lich Form. So it's a bit like how on Warrior you can rampage, or on Elementalist you could turn into a tornado. So the cool thing about being a Lich, this won't turn us into a real Lich as far as lore is concerned, like Vizier Kilbron or whatnot. But I guess it kind of lets us turn into a form like being a Lich. Assume the form of a Lich for a brief time. Entering this removes any other spectral effects we have on us from that skill tree I just bought my whole way into. And we don't have any of those skills on. But then when it ends, we get life force back. So here, I'm going to show you what this looks like before we go into the mission and all the story starts. We take a long time to cast it, and here we are. We become a Lich. Very cool looking character model. You might recognize from brief snippets earlier in the game. We get 5 special new skills. You get Deathly Claws, just a ton of damage in an AoE. This hand comes out that we reap things. But the main one I want to show you is this, Summon Madness. And what this is a skill that summons a ton of minions for us. And these are super dangerous special minions, in that they only spawn from our elite, which has a huge cooldown on it. And you can hear just that incredible amount of noise that they make in the area before then they die. The thing is with them, they only last a short window. And if the enemies don't kill them, they blow up and do big damage around them. So you remember this regular minion skill we have, Bone Minions? I can explode them, like so. Imagine I get 5 of these at once that are stronger. Well, you can only get those from Lich Form, from that one skill, Summon Madness. So you can kind of use Lich Form instead of Flesh Golem. You can choose for one big minion, or you can choose for lot that's around all the time, or lots of little minions that you can only spike up every now and then. If the balance was a little bit different, I think Lich Form could be extra fun, but it's still cool and good enough at this early stage in the story. You know, we're not in expansions and stuff yet. So I kind of want to show you what that's like. Lich Form does a ton of other stuff too, but we'll go into that kind of gradually. So yeah, Ketamans, there is a Mouth of Zaitan in here, and he is a problem we need to deal with, just as we had to deal with the Eye. Now, the Eye kind of cast this terrible magic and teleported us into the darkness alone. I wonder what will happen this time. This is one of my favorite instances in the game, in terms of the characters and the dialogue and the pacing. There's a ton of it, and they all emote at one another. There's lots of really cool little details here. And the quality, basically what I'm saying is I feel like the devs that made this arc in Ore that we're about to experience were really talented and put a lot of effort in, and it kind of shines head and shoulders among a lot of other arcs we were doing. So, hello everybody.
Scorch this. Let's just storm the place, kill everyone we find, and raze it to the ground.
Nice plan, buddy. But the Pact conducts himself with more style than your frothy brain can handle.
Keep it down, you louds. Keep your interlegion bickering to a minimum.
Whoa, now that's sneaky. After we beat Saitan, how about you come train with the Ash Legion?
Jealous snarl. That's what comes from being second rate.
Pipe down. We've got rough work ahead of us. Scout detail, form up.
Alright, so before I form up and we progress this, Let's see what we've got. Well, a lot of generic NPCs, Vigil and whatnot. We have our Romeo and Juliet. So Galena and Snarl are back. So this is, you know, the Ash Legion, the Blood Legion. And they seem to kind of like each other. Last week we were interacting with them. We actually recruited them for help in the Claw Island arc. If we were an Iron Legion Char very early in the story, we could have also spent some time with them. But we haven't seen that since the Char we've played as Blood Legion. And certainly Caraflower, the Sylvari here, wouldn't know anything about that, right? So yeah, we got those. Who else we got? Agent Zri, the very stealthy Asura. Also, we first started meeting around Claw Island, I think, forging the pact. She's kind of new. Over here, we got Hekja. So Hekja is the... She seems to have assumed a leadership position. She's the Norn that helped us recover Apatia and has only very recently been a thing in the story. And I think that's all the named guys. So, do I get extra dialogue if I speak to these guys first?
Need a head bashed in.
Oh my god, that's so Blood Legion of her. No, it's... Well, actually, maybe, but once we get inside. You, the commander? We need your input. I like this. They don't quite... Your average grunt still doesn't quite know if we're the commander and, like, what our rank is just yet. That information is still spreading. We're not famous yet. You, the commander, we need your input. Someone has to take charge of these scouts who'd rather fret than fight. Okay, Snarl, how's it going? If you're the brass we've been waiting for, tell that bossy Norn to get the lead out. Scouting shouldn't be this complicated. Hekja's the one going in, so it's her call. Oh, we're scouting ahead, are we? And Zri? We have a lot of scout-worthy people, right? Like Order of Whispers and Ash Legion around. Hello, Commander. Sick of ore yet? I don't think so. Some players actually do talk about getting sick of ore, but we've only really just got here. Apparently, Caraflower says yes, but I'm not leaving until we came to do. I suppose living here and drudging through here, however many weeks it would take to get this far in, maybe it would be a different story. But as entertainment, as a nerd, just sitting at a PC playing a video game, I'm loving it. All right, hey Hekja, how's it going? Lovely face tattoo, as always.
Everything in moderate. Ready to move on your orders, Commander. We've confirmed large numbers of artifacts in transit to this location. The Priory's readings for the Manse are off the scale. If the mouth eats powerful magic, this place is a Winter's Day feast.
All right, I want you to lead a scouting party into the Manse. Reconnaissance only. We need more information before we move in.
Understood. We'll be in and out before they even know we're there.
So, very clear that there's artifacts coming that they're going to try and consume. That mention of Winter's Day is cool, by the way. So, they're going to go in and we don't get to follow them. This is really awesome. And if you watch, the door will close again. We just have to hope they're good. Winter's Day is a cool thing to mention there, I think, because we hadn't seen Winter's Day at the point that this release came out, because this was launched before the first patches.
Bored yet, Snarl? I'm bored. We sit here while that bossy Norn has all the fun. 10 gold says I can take down that ugly chicken with one shot.
You just don't get patience, do you? But since you asked, 10 gold says you can.
10 gold was a lot of money at launch as well. Oh, she missed.
That's the most resilient chicken ever. Whoa! It's coming right at us!
Oh, you fools. You've aggroed the wildlife. I like how, once again, it's all like farm creatures and stuff, which just in the area we'd noticed a lot of before. So, all right, let's get our minions up and let's start fighting. Shouldn't be too bad. I'll show you a very early Lich form as well. It will hopefully recharge before anything dangerous comes up. So we get the auto, which pierces like mad. You've got this skill 2 here as well, which is ammo based. And basically you can spam it to cripple and apply vulnerability. And you can do that in the middle of any other animation. So you can just keep spamming the 2. The 3 is really badass as well. It's a fear wave that sends everything scattering. And then we can teleport to also.
That's how we do it.
For once we agree. Keep them coming, Saitan. We got plenty of blades left.
I can't decide if you two are inspiring or terrifying.
The Asura outsider perspective, just watching these Char go at it.
Well, that was fun. For you. But now it's official. That Norn's been gone for too long.
Right. Listen up, everyone. Our scouting expert here says we've waited long enough. Operation Sit on Our Furry Behinds is over. We're going in. Form up on the commander.
Oh, good. I love this part. Stealth is fun, but stealth kills are sublime.
Oh god, okay, Zri. I wonder why Zri didn't go scouting in with them. So it's kind of a horror mission that we're actually about to play. I really, really like. It's kind of the mystery of what happened to the crew inside the mansion. It's also a nice thing in that normally as the player and the hero, you'd expect you're on the front lines, you're in the vanguard, you're doing the thing. But we have to sort of sit back and just do scout duty. It's a nice twist that Guild Wars 2, it's such a big game they could take the time to do an instance where, you know, we're a little bit more on the sidelines. So those Char are going to give us away. I expect it from Galena. She's a Blood Legion roughneck. Snarls from Ash, though. I thought they understood sneaky. Let's just find Hekja. I do like Hekja. She was very cool with the Apatia story. I hope nothing bad happens to her. That'd be kind of weird, right? That in that story step, we have something terrible happens to Apatia and then the other female Norn nearby. Surely she has plot armor, right? You wouldn't expect them to double up like that. Burn this. I should be in charge of the scouting party. Not standing out here listening to Hammerhead Galena. You've got your orders. Stick to them. Did we already hear that? Snarl and I are veterans of this sort of thing, so we've got our end of this mission covered. Don't tell him I said that, though. He'll take it as a compliment. I won't say a word. Let's move out. You two should just, you know, go behind that pillar and kiss already. Okay. So, Keita Mance. We open the door.
Welcome, one and all, to my humble manor. Come in. Please forgive my meager accommodations.
What is this?
But fear not.
What's that?
My servants will attend to your every need. A toast to you, honored guests. Eat, drink, and join me in my salon for lively conversation.
Oh, so it's a lovely party.
I don't like this. Let's find a way out of here before things get any weirder.
No, it's totally fine. What are you talking? Listen to that beautiful music. It's not a problem. Well, now we know where Hekja was. Never knew a Norn who could turn down a party. But seriously, what's going on here? What am I looking at? Oh, sorry, what was our response? Not sure yet, but we're going to find out. Galena? What just happened? This isn't making any sense. Is this some sort of trick? Stay close. We'll figure this out. Okay, yeah, it is pretty sinister, isn't it? Because we are still in a rundown old mansion, but these Orions seem to be... They don't even look like Risen. Look, this is just a servant. Hello. We sincerely hope you enjoy your stay at Keita Mance. Lord Keita welcomes you and has instructed us to see to your every need. Just that beautiful music, that lovely flute. What's going on here? Who's Lord Keita? His lordship is devoted servant of Lissa. It is said that the goddess herself once visited this manse. May she grace us with her presence again in these dark times. Wait, so they appreciate that ore is messed up and yet they're still fine? If you say so, what else can you tell me about the manse? We sincerely hope you enjoy your stay in Keita Mance. Lord Keita welcomes you and has instructed us to see to your every need. Wait. You already said that. His lordship is a devoted servant of Lissa. It is said that the goddess herself once visited this manse. May she grace her with her presence again in these dark times. Okay, so we would just go in loops. I've got to go. Something's not right here. It is very strange. If these are Orions, is this what Orions look like? I mean, ethnically, they're supposed to be kind of like Arabic and stuff, aren't they? I don't know whether the game's telling a story there or what, but yeah, so we can speak to all the servants, but they all just say the same thing. We sincerely hope you enjoy your stay at Keita Mance. Lord Keita welcomes you and has instructed us to see your every need. I've heard this before. Huh. I've got to go. I love that it's so cool that they actually have that little update where it says, I've heard this before on the next NPC. What are my regular just peons, my regular guys thinking? At least I've still got my minions with me and they're not being duped in any way. Of course, the really sinister thing is that Lissa was associated with this place. We know what Lissa means, guys. Lissa means mesmers and illusion. Well, we got another door. Hello? Can I come through? Is this okay? We sincerely hope. I know. Open? The door is still tight and won't budge. Huh.
When Zaitan speaks, the world trembles.
We're under attack. Ears up. Something's hunting us. Undead servants. And I thought the service was bad at the serrated blade.
Okay, alright, so we hear a very sinister sound from underneath. You can actually see on the chat log the title of the character that said that was the Mouth of Zaitan. When Zaitan speaks, the world trembles. That's a cool line because we've heard like him roaring and you kind of feel the vibration and the sense of that rippling throughout, even if it is kind of speaking poetically, right? Also, what a badass reference to the serrated blade there. That would be so cool. I wish Tyrix was here to hear that. It would be amazing. That is actually the bar that we've gone to several times. In fact, Tyrix at this point in the timeline is probably still around Ascalon. He recently went to the Serrated Blade to ask about what was going on with the missing shipments and all his illusion-y issues. So yeah, really cool. I wish I was back home.
Forward! Bash that door down if you have to.
So because of the new death magic buff, we're getting so many minions as we go through here. This is cool.
So I said, a light meal, some light conversation? Why do you need such heavy armor, my dear? Look, it's your friends. Lady Hekja, you simply must introduce us to your companions. I do hope my servants were accommodating. But sometimes it's difficult to keep the lower orders in line. Hekja, my dear, entertain our guests while I tend to the kitchen staff.
He's holding Hekja prisoner. can't hold anything with no arms. Let's get him!
Everything is prey for the dragon. Surrender.
Snap out of it, Hekja.
Accept
We're on
your
your side.
Oh my god, and she just runs off. So she was actually invulnerable there as an enemy, so she might not be hurt.
Where'd she go? Never mind. Kill these fancy pants undead. We'll find her later.
So she might not be hurt, but she's definitely nuts. It's a very creepy thought that she's just wandering through a ton of sinister undead like this. And yeah, all the creatures that are around haven't just randomly spawned. They are what the illusions were. Those jesters we were looking at and servants and whatnot a minute ago. Yeah, they are the actual same creatures. These guys are actually pretty dangerous as well. You see these AoEs? These are marks. So as a necro on staff, we get marks. I showed them earlier in the series. But if we look at our damage taken in the combat log here, you'll see these are called Shadow Step, and it seems to me like it was an old maybe work in progress necro mark or something that never ended up in the game, and things got changed a bit throughout development. Anyway, they kind of cleave our minions quite a lot, so we've got to be cautious. Thankfully, we're heavily armored. Oh god, there's 3 of them. Look at that, they cast them all at once there and all teleport to the same place. It's particularly dangerous because of how they can move right in front of you and like keep you chilled and whatnot. Luckily, I have so many minions and they can probably only hit 5 targets that I'm relatively safe. It's probably saving my allies too.
She's lost to us. We need to focus on finding the mouth. Find the door and we can go.
Okay, alright, Snarl.
Fascinating.
Well, Zuri wanted to speak first. I'm ready to classify this as Orion Mesmer magic. It all adds up. The statue of Lyssa, the strange things we're seeing. Wait, what statue of Lyssa? Was there a statue of Lyssa outside and I just hadn't noticed it? This is some sort of trick. Real life isn't this soft and dreamy or this purple. Let's find his lordship and make him explain it. What's with all these idiots in fancy dress? Where's the mouth? Just give me a target I can chase down and kill. As soon as we find the mouth, you'll get your wish. So we're heading deeper in, and you got to consider the deeper in you get, what if illusions suddenly trap us in? Scary thought to me.
Splendid! You have all proven to be quite the entertaining diversion. Now, let us entertain you.
And so here we go. So we get a boss fight. One thing I want to point out, you see this jester here? This is a normal-sized human. It looks really small and short, doesn't it? But you've got to consider Hekja is a Norn, so very tall. And that means Lord Keita, who presumably is also human, is just like a massive guy. So there's like an intimidation of size that you can kind of get lost if you're just rushing through this really quickly. Right, so I like the idea of this boss a lot. You know, you've got your main boss, you've got a secondary and a tertiary target. And unfortunately, look, the fact that Hekja was just like hurt in the brain or whatever and just like being manipulated... itself was an illusion. She too, like everything else, was undead, and that's an interesting thing to sort of sit back and think about. So yeah, first I'm going to target the Jester, and we'll kill him. And we'll go for Keita as well. No sign of the mouth yet, right? And what about all the artifacts that we're going to get shipped in? Well, we'll see. Amazingly, I've managed to pull the Jester without anything else, so that's cool. Here you'll see, this is a Mesmer ability, a Temporal Curtain. We've never played a Mesmer on the series, so you don't quite know what that does, but that is actually a player skill. If you see I walk over it, I actually get crippled. So Hekja is pretty sad. I was kind of lying earlier. It's true. They kill both of those Norn, those feet. Here we're going to interrupt her. Both of them, Apatia and Hekja. Poor Lady Norns. Here I'll use a 3 to convert these stabilities she had as well. And pretty sad, honestly. But it just goes to show there is no holds barred. The devs will do whatever. The writers will, you know, trick you out. If you try and predict them and think about that kind of stuff, maybe you'll be mistaken. And yeah, so then we can get Keita at the very back as well, who seems to be able to put out stab, which is quite a powerful boon for launch.
Hekja was a good scout. They'll pay for taking her.
She deserved better than this. Hekja was a pill, but she was our pill. Let's tear this place down!
I am waiting below. Face me if you dare.
You know, I gotta be honest, guys. I don't really know what it means when someone's described as a pill. What does that even mean? That seems like a very contemporary, real-world statement to make. Not something a child would say, but hey, Gildossy crosses that line quite often. So yeah, I'm waiting below. Face me if you dare. Yeah, it's actually quite a lot of bosses in this mission. And we've got this final chamber. I like to think there could have been more illusions going on here, but we've already killed Keita, so there's no choice for it. And you'll notice that the basement is kind of all crushed open. And down here, hiding in the basement of this old, once lovely mansion, we find the mouth.
I sustain Zaitan, and Zaitan makes me strong.
So, there's quite a lot of cool things to talk about. We've obviously seen this mouth before, but only for a glimpse. There's actually a lot of really cool concept art to do with this guy. You only ever meet a couple of these throughout the entire story. And, yeah, this is genuinely one of the hardest fights in the entire game. So, I just want to preface this by saying I do a lot of challenges where I play through this game without using certain skills or skills at all, or armor, or, you know, making certain build restrictions. And this is always like a really challenging mission to play because he is so difficult. In fact, he's so hard you might want to choose the other mission in a lot of times. Remember, we chose to do this. We could have instead chosen to try and cut off his food supply from the outside. So let's talk about his mechanics. It's a really well-made battle. They would go to a lot more effort with this boss than any of the others. Like Hekja up there, you know, was just kind of a standard fight, as we see nearly every boss in the game is. So first of all, he's permanently regenerating. He actually has two different effects that look like regen here. He has standing ground, which we did look at earlier in the series. I think some allies of ours had it. Basically, it means his break bar is going to be hard to get through. A lot of our crowd controls won't work, and he, for free, cleanses stuff like cripple and whatever over time. He has protection, and you'll see that lasts for a month, 2 weeks, 5 days. The idea is he has perma-prot. Now, you can rip that from him, but he reapplies it to himself fairly frequently, just as he reapplies regeneration to himself through a certain mechanic here, right? So, as we go down, you'll see what happens.
Another meal for my master.
Right, he's got ranged abilities. He's going to drop these big AoEs, and to stand in these actually does a good amount of damage, right? Then he has these shockwaves. He spits 3 out at once, and he keeps doing it over and over. He'll do the puddle.
There's nothing for me to hit. Fall back and use ranged weapons.
And so he keeps going between them. If you get knocked by a shockwave into the puddle or whatever, it can be really devastating. So you want to hide behind these pillars and whatnot. You can see he's already killing my minions quite bad. Now, if I try and melee him, what you'll see happens is all of these guards around him that are spinning in circles knock me back, and I can't really get to him very comfortably. That's why Galena, who's been trying to hit him in melee, has just realized we need to use ranged weapons. So if you do some kind of challenge where you're stuck on melee weapons, you're like screwed here. So yeah, that's something to think about. What you can do is you can actually choose to kill the guards, like so, to open up attack.
Submit to the will of Zaitan.
But there's more to think about than that. There, did you see how much damage I took? And I got confusion. Now, I gave the confusion to my minions, but the confusion can really hurt. So yeah, you come forwards and you want to like try and kill these guards. But when he reaches half health, he resummons them all. There's another mechanic going on, which is this. Can you see this courier? There's 2 of them.
More servants. Pat him down. That's our real objective.
Right, so Snarl just died because he's standing the AoEs. What happens here is these couriers are bringing artifacts.
I sustain Zaitan, and Zaitan makes me strong.
And when he eats the artifact,
I sustain Zaitan, and Zaitan makes me strong.
you see, he speaks and he reapplies the boons to himself. So it's kind of a cool fight where you're meant to split your objective between killing couriers, trying to use range abilities to DPS him down. And because he can kind of regenerate quite well, he can actually be a bit of a challenge. So, you know, I like him a lot. Speaking of range, let's go Lich Form. So let's get our Unstable Horrors up. The last skill to talk about is the skill 5, Grim Scepter. So basically we tether to him and we just keep ripping damage and healing ourselves with siphoning health. So yeah, we can just use our Lich abilities. Look at all the green explosions here.
Nothing before Zaitan's might.
And so with my unstable minions, I just destroyed all the guards around him, which was cool. Lich Form did that. And we made him talk about... I think we got him below half health and he rephased. So now he's just resummoned everything. So now we're in the second half of the fight. If we do that all again, we'll be fine. We're just so strong as Carrot Flower here at the moment, particularly with all of our minions. Here you notice we did get his break bar down, which is very cool. Get an interrupt in there. And, yeah, also, when you hit 50%, all of your allies revive as well. It's kind of like a reset in the middle of the fight. If you can imagine, under launch balance, this might have taken a long time and been, you know, kind of a really cool thing to think about. Particularly, look how much damage I take from getting hit by that shockwave. The idea really is to be at range as much as possible. Genuinely, I know this looks easy, but hopefully I've articulated why he's such a cool fight.
What a day. I've always wanted to punch a dragon in the mouth.
Now your dream has come. Wait, did you feel that?
I felt that. This whole place is coming down. Run, or we'll be celebrating in the mists.
All right, so we don't really get a time to celebrate. You don't even get necessarily big loot or whatever. And now we need to flee from the mansion. This is one of those instances where you want to have your effects volume really high so you can hear the cracking of the mansion and stuff as it falls down. There's a ton of AoEs. We got to flee. I'd love to be able to sit here and say that you take tons of damage from all these red rings. You really don't. And even if you do die somehow miraculously, so here, I'll show you how little it does. It doesn't even do damage, really. it does do damage. It's just such a pathetically tiny amount. You'd probably have to wait like an hour of constantly getting hit to die. Even if you did die, you just respawn outside of the mansion, and there you go. That you've beat the incident. So anyway, we've got to run out. The mansion's collapsing. It's a cool story idea, at least. Need to flee through. And so we do have a victory of taking out the mouth. The door won't budge. Everyone? We have a problem.
The door's still shut tight. Come on, 3. It's demolition time.
Why didn't you ask me sooner? By the time I set the charges, it'll be too late.
Move aside, then. All that door needs is a dose of my shoulder.
Oh, that's badass. That's some char ferocity right there. Cool. And so we run on out. Escape from Keita Mance. Oh, and you hear the roar and the whole thing blows up right as you leave. That's a cool animation you only catch if you look behind you.
Oh, that was no earthquake. That was Zaitan's roar. We made a dragon mad enough to throw a tantrum. Must be hungry, the poor little lizard.
Good. Now he knows we mean business. Nice work on that door, by the way. Who knew your hard head doubled as a battering ram?
Careful, Snarl. You keep up with the compliments and our commanding officers will assign us to permanent duty together.
Good idea.
Enough chatter. We suffered too many losses today. I should have sent a larger scouting party.
I disagree, Commander. You made the right call. You could have sent in all your scouts, and that Mesmer dandy would have taken them all. Come on, Marshal Traherne's waiting back at Fort Trinity. The mission was a success. Let's go tell him so.
So, another death. And the game doesn't, like, indulge in that death. It doesn't linger on it too much. It's just kind of showing, look, people are dying in this struggle. And I think that's... You can see now why, actually, Hekja isn't... Hekja is in the story before this point, so she's not a total red shirt. But when she has been in the story first, the devs don't, like, try and muddy the waters too much by acting like she's going to become our best friend, like Tybalt or something, and try and recreate that. They just kind of show, you know, casualties can happen in this way. A lot of the really cool characters do survive, though, so Galena, good job.
Not false gods.
I never had a use for scouts, but Hekja deserved better than this. Still, a victory is a victory, right, Commander? Right, and we'll need a lot more of them before Zaitan falls. I love how assertive Caraflower was there as well. Hekja wasn't so bad. I was tough on her, but that's just professional courtesy. I'll make sure she was remembered as an Ashworthy scout. Yeah, you were a bit of a dick to her before we even went in there. Thanks, Snarl, she'd have liked that. And Zri, can we even speak to Zri, or is she just stealthed and teleported off? I kind of love that, actually. I think she has. That's awesome. So yeah, there you go. That's the estate of Decay having been dealt with. Let's get back out now and report to Traherne. So we are actually going to go all the way back to Fort Trinity, and we'll often do that. This is what I was mentioning a couple of episodes ago. Now that airships are kind of a thing, how do you justify like such vast, incredible travel speeds? Obviously, in gameplay, we know how it's justified, and as a product, as an MMO, we know how it is. But what's our headcanon for this? For me, I like to think that it's just a lot of airship travel. And once we've cleared those siege planes through the 3 assaults and whatnot, you know, we do have permanent supply lines opening up. So, I almost went in the wrong direction there. Traherne is back over here. It's nice to see Fort Trinity in the day. And I feel safe in Fort Trinity, you know. When you come back after you've just been in the miserable areas out nearby, you actually come back and say, oh, this place isn't so bad. Whew, it's kind of nice. So, we're on to the next little bit here, through the looking glass. And we're at the Asura gates.
Welcome back. I'm glad you're safe. Let's begin the briefing.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about, man. Firstly, that an eye and a mouth are dead, and Zaitan really cared.
Welcome, friends and allies. We've just defeated a powerful mouth of Zaitan, effectively cutting off one of the dragon's major supply lines. Now, we have to press our advantage. Reducing Zaitan's food supply was a good start. It's time to stem the flow of reinforcements.
Reinforcements? You mean...
He means dead bodies. Zaitan's minions on the mainland are gathering and shipping corpses to Ore in massive numbers.
Precisely. Our next move is to confront Zaitan in ore. Before we strike, we need to weaken its position as much as possible.
A sound strategy. Starve the enemy and cripple its army before we invade. You learn fast, Marshal.
I have to, General. Now, the Commander and I need to confer and choose the best course of action.
I really think that cutscene is one of the most important cutscenes for these later parts of the story here. What you gotta kind of understand, guys, is Zaitan's power is reliant on his forces, the artifacts he can gather and consume through the mouths. By killing the eye, it's not a coincidence, and it's not just artistry that they're called the eyes of Zaitan and the mouths of Zaitan. In a way, we're kind of already fighting the dragon. I mean, like, the physical entity. We haven't seen it. We don't know exactly where it is, but we're hearing it roar. We're hearing it react. We have a wonderful suggestion there that many of the territories Zaitan expanded into, the mainland, as it's described, right, all around here, that massive numbers of corpses are being shifted back. That Zaitan has recognized it's losing territory, and we've actually caused a shift in its movements. I like the thought that right now, actually, it's been a big victory for Tyria. You know, we're given this expression via the Hylek losing territory and whatnot, that the Risen are continually pressing up. Their knives are about to be at the throat of Lion's Arch. And I like to think that at this point, over, you know, the 1 week stretch of real Tyria time that perhaps this period of the story is portraying, that we've actually started saving lives now, because that expansion is turning on its head, and corpses are being shipped back as armies, you know, and chattel and cannon fodder and whatnot, instead of just constantly aggressing out. I really like that idea. And there's also a really cool sense of, like, maybe medieval warfare, in that sense that you never know quite what your enemy's doing. He's always shrouded in mystery, but you see the effects of how he's changing in reaction to you. Anyway, so, yeah, I think that was something else I wanted to say there too. God bless you, Hekja, for giving your life for such a great cause, I guess. Hey, Traherne, what's up? I'm sorry about Hekja, but I must agree with Agent Zri. If Zaitan is using Mesmers this heavily, it's pulling out all the stops to crush the Pact before we crush it. Yeah, so think about that, you know, like, you can't distill the Elder Dragon fight down to just the last mission, right? Which is something a lot of people do. We can kind of think of it as going right now. You might think of that as a cop-out, but I like the idea. You know, it's a large theater of action. So it's right for Zaitan to be scared. We're going to bury it. I like that term because he's an undead dragon, so the idea of putting him in a grave is especially pointed. I'm just glad that Tyria has finally joined forces. Well, come on. We came to terms with that a while ago now. You're the linchpin, though. People will follow Marshal. I'm going to be ferocious. It might not be Caraflower's, like, nature, truly, but I, as a player, want to be ferocious here. It's right to be scared. We're going to bury it. Quite. And precisely the kind of aggressive response we need. Shall we discuss the campaign's next step? Let's. We've reached the point where we need to establish a forward base on an Aurian soil. Zaitan's vast army gives it the advantage, but we're going to address that. So we've already got, like, small bases, but I guess he means a bigger one. Right, we need to stop it from making it any bigger. Yes, and to do that, we must shut down the ossuary that creates Zaitan's most formidable monstrosities, or sink the giant ark that brings in corpses to fuel it. This is a cool choice here, because it's not just like stealth attack or front attack. We get a bit more. So I need more information. And by the way, this story, so we're in Victory or Death, okay, the last chapter. But Victory or Death, you can kind of split into 3 arcs. We're at the end of the first of those arcs. Like, there's arc 1, and then there's a middle arc, and then there's a final arc. That's why Victory or Death is so long. And this is the end of arc 1. So Caraflower will be due for a gear upgrade and stuff by the end of this. This is the last mission. So, which do we want to do? Well, I need more information. Is our target ship Zaitan's only source of corpses? So he's literally bringing corpses back on ships. No, it's not the only ship, but it's the flagship of Zaitan's Corpse Ark fleet, capable of making multiple pickups daily. It must be sunk. So, does Caraflower have much understanding of the admiralty of Zaitan and his ships and stuff? Not necessarily. I mean, Bract with the Order of Whispers killed a very powerful admiral that attacked at the Order of Whispers headquarters and stuff. I don't know what Caraflower's really done there. So I have another question. What can we expect of this ossuary? So he's bringing corpses back to this place. The ossuary is the heart of Zaitan's horde production. Corpses go in, abominations come out. Expect magic, monsters, the worst ore has to offer. It's a vital target. Okay, that place sounds pretty exciting. And another question. We must stop Zaitan's army from... oh, okay, this is another question. I'm ready to decide. I'm actually going to say for Cariflower that we're going to stop the problem at its source, the ossuary. Because, like, we're a necromancer, right? We know death, and we know reanimation, and we know corpse manipulation and stuff. Surely we have something to offer. Surely we'd be keen on this and, you know, have some insights to glean. So, definitely the necromancer tie. We're going to go for this. He says, excellent. I'll have another pack squad deal with the Ark. Well, hopefully they do well. And as much as I hate to risk us both on the same mission, I must join you for this one. All right, so Johan's coming back. We haven't seen him on the front lines when things got really intense for a while now. Why are you coming? He says, well, we'll be dealing with ancient Orient funeral rites and death magic. My expertise, and of course he's a necromancer too, so, you know, we're kindred spirits in a lot of ways. My expertise will be necessary to unravel all the mysteries we'll encounter. And boy, will we. There's some great lore here, guys. I'll be glad to have you with us, Marshall. Just don't die like Hekja did. Thank you. I have some preparations to make before we're ready. Meet me the pack camp outside the ruins of Ren, and the mission will proceed from there. It would just be amazing if Johan dies soon. I think, like, story-wise, things have been going too well for us for a while, maybe. But yeah, look at this. We're going to meet outside the ruins of Ren. Until then, story complete. And yeah, I talked about that a lot recently. We saw information about that to do with the gods and whatnot. We get 2 choices of level 80 rare underwater stuff. We can go for a spear, or we can go for the trident. I think we'll do more damage with the trident, so I'm going to pick that one up and equip that. Oh, we missed it. I think there was a tiny bit of dialogue with a Foot and Winnet, who, of course, you know, they're like the big daddies. Not the big daddies, but they're, you know, and Dern was here as well, I think. So they just saluted us and went back through the Asura gates. I really wanted to talk to them. I think they basically would have just congratulated us and said, hey, well done, you're doing very well. That's a cool little visual thing that the devs do there, though. Basically reminding us that this entire war effort is being fueled by the efforts and intellectual opportunities afforded by, you know, the Vigil and the Order of Whispers and stuff. To see those guys creeping back off, that's cool. Trahan, what's up? He says, be advised, Commander. The ossuary is steeped in powerful magic and crawling with Risen, but we can't let it generate more abominations for Zaitan. I've got this, Marshall. See you soon. So... there has been this very specific category of undead enemy throughout the story so far called abominations. And I'm not sure at this point whether the story is specifically talking about those like in-engine abominations or it's like another idea. We're just using that as a descriptive term for the most dangerous Zaitan creatures. But I like to think it is exactly those. And Cariflower, out of every single adventure we've seen, Cariflower had to deal with abominations earlier than anyone else, being of the Caledon Forest and actually one of the quests to do with, I think, the Dermond Priory and one of the keep defenses. So, A-bombs. Every A-bomb we've seen, where did they come from? One specific place. And it doesn't sound like just an A-bomb creation factory. It sounds like a creation factory for hordes of stuff. So, that's what we're going to do next time. We're going to be starting here at Pagaz, going to the village, or what remains of the village of Ren. Well, once upon a time, one of the gods actually lived among humans. And we're actually going to do this meta as we go as well. Pack troops move out. It says here that assistance is required at the camp, just up here. So hopefully next time I sit down to record, that's still what's going on. We also have the Inquest to talk about on this map and stuff, but all in due time. Thanks very much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed. Oh, let's do this. And we will see you. Lich form Cariflower. OP level 80 Cariflower. We'll see you soon.